Hello everyone. In this particular video, I'm going to talk to you about the CUET preparation, and if you're choosing history as a domain optional while giving the CUET exam, so which all topics you should focus on, what is the syllabus for the domain subject of history that you should keep in mind while you're preparing for CUET. Who all can choose history as a domain subject for CUET? See, if you are, for example, aiming to do a BA honors in history, agar you're looking to do a BA honors in history, then you can choose history as a domain optional. If you're looking to do even political science or political science honors, then you can choose history as an domain subject for your section 2 paper. Remember that in your section 2 paper, if you choose history as a domain subject or any of the section 2 papers, what you have to do is you need to choose 40 out of 50 questions, and you need to do these 40 questions in 45 minutes. So what are we going to discuss in this video? In this video, I'm going to discuss with you the syllabus for the CUET paper. तो CUET paper का syllabus क्या है, and which all topics are important from your exam point of view, जो आपको prepare करना चाहिए, or which all topics you should definitely prepare if you're appearing for the CUET exam. We'll discuss all of this in this particular video. Please understand, a lot of you may think that history is very bulky or very long, but if you look at the syllabus for your paper, it is a relatively well-defined syllabus. And syllabus में ये topics level तक mention किया हुआ है, so you need to focus on those areas which is largely based on your 12th board exam syllabus. तो इन चीजों का आपको ध्यान रखना है, and let's begin one by one. So first I'll discuss with you the syllabus according to the CUET exam, and then I will point out to you the important areas that you should cover if you are appearing for this exam. Let's begin. Now, if you look, for example, the syllabus is divided into ancient, medieval and modern history. तो वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री नहीं पढ़ना है आपको, एंशिएंट, मेडिवल एंड मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री पढ़ना है, मॉडर्न इंडियन हिस्ट्री पढ़ना है. एंड देखिए, एंशिएंट में द फर्स्ट टॉपिक विच इज इंपॉर्टेंट, बट ऑब्वियसली जहां आपको फोकस रखना है वो हरप्पन पे है. तो हरप्पन सिविलाइजेशन इज वन टॉपिक दैट यू नीड टू फोकस ऑन, एंड इन दिस टॉपिक ऑन हरप्पन सिविलाइजेशन व्हाट यू नीड टू कवर फर्स्टली आर की कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ हरप्पन सिविलाइजेशन एंड important Harappan sites like Harappa, Mohenjo-daro. So there is Harappa, there is Mohenjo-daro, etc. So these important sites, Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Dholavira, which are the important sites, what are the characteristics of those important sites, ये आपको cover करना है. Okay, this is something that you should cover in the Harappan topic. Okay, and it's an important thing. This is the snapshot taken from the official website of CUET and the syllabus mentioned there. So this is one important thing that you need to cover. The second thing is about, if you look closely at the syllabus, it says the political and economic history from Mauryan to Gupta period. तो Mauryan period से लेके Gupta period तक you have to focus on the important features of their administration. So देखिए, many students feel कि they may keep asking the name of rulers, but that's not going to happen. Rulers के name सिर्फ याद करना important नहीं है, major policies, major aspects of their administrative structure ये आपको पता होना चाहिए, and that is something that is something that you should focus on, and I'll give you more detailed analysis in just some time. Also, इसके अलावा the next thing that you should know when they're mentioning separately in the syllabus about Mahabharata, etc. So here it's also what you need to focus is primarily about the Vedic period, and Vedic period पे भी there is going to be an important focus in the syllabus of the exam. So let me also throw some light on the Vedic period. But before that, I'll throw more light on Mauryan and Gupta period as we move forward in this discussion. इसमें और detailed में क्या important topic है, but Vedic period is also an important period जिसपे we will throw throw light and which is important for your exam. So this is something. See, this is the image of what? This is the image of the distribution of the major Harappan sites on the map of the Indian subcontinent. So that's one thing. Now आगे चलते हैं. The next important thing, देखिए Mauryan और Mauryan period onwards एक important thing is Buddhism. We all know Ashoka was a patron of Buddhism. तो Buddhism पे एक बहुत important focus है of this exam. Buddhism, Jainism and Vedic religion. Buddhism, Jainism. So Buddhism, Jainism and Vedic religion. If you look at this, focus on Buddhism, ये syllabus में सीधा लिखा हुआ है, Vedic religion and Jainism. तो this is something जो आपको पढ़ना है. देखिए, before you read any topic, आपको ये पता होना चाहिए उसका syllabus क्या है. So the syllabus is something like this. ठीक है. And इसमें जब आप say when you're reading about Buddhism and Jainism, तो आपको definitely ये पता होना चाहिए that where, for example, was Gautama Siddhartha born, where did he attain enlightenment, but you should also know about the key principles of Buddhism. For example, there are key 5 principles of Buddhism. What are these key 5 principles of Buddhism? You should know. What is the 3 Ratna of Buddhism? आपको पता होना चाहिए. So जो it's not just आप बस name of religious leaders where they were born or where they attained enlightenment पढ़ लें, ये तो पता होना ही चाहिए, लेकिन एक basic understanding, not too much, कोई बहुत in depth नहीं चाहिए, but एक basic understanding of key principles भी आपको पता होना चाहिए. Also will keep a focus on, also you should keep a focus on Buddhist art, and Sanchi, for example, is one of the key sites of Buddhist art that also you should know about. Okay, और ये syllabus mention कर रहा है, so you should definitely know about it. Next, तो this is about ancient period. आप इतना भी cover कर रहे हैं तो it's okay. Next, coming to medieval. जब हम medieval period में आ रहे हैं, so in medieval period, what they have clearly mentioned and they want you to focus about is the role of travelers. Is the role of foreign travelers who came to India during the medieval period, and these foreign travelers and their accounts. जैसे कि Al-Bruni, Ibn Battuta, Francis Bernier or Nicole de Conti. So there were a number of these foreign travelers who came to the Indian subcontinent. So who were these travelers? Where they came from? What did they write in their account? ये basic चीजें आपको पता होना चाहिए. You must know about these basic stuff. Who their travelers were, where they came from, what did they write in their accounts, and even in your 12th class NCRTs, in many of the blue boxes, of the NCRT, these things are mentioned. तो आपको इन चीजों पे फोकस रखना है. Okay, these are the things that you should keep a focus on while preparing for the exam. So I hope that this is clear. सबसे पहले चलिए, if this is clear, then we can move on to the next thing from your syllabus point of view. What is important, and that is about what the next thing in medieval जो आपके लिए important है, जो है about the Bhakti Sufi tradition. The syllabus में separately in medieval this line is mentioned, and that is about the Bhakti Sufi tradition. So Bhakti Sufi tradition is important. Key features of Bhakti and Sufi, key characteristics of their teachings आपको पता होना चाहिए. Key characteristics of their teachings and key religious leaders of the Bhakti and Sufi tradition you must know about. So ये basic features as well as key leaders of the Bhakti and Sufi tradition you must know about. तो ये दोनों चीजें हैं, religious histories in the Bhakti and the Sufi tradition. That is something also जो आपको पता होना चाहिए. Okay, तो ये and because the syllabus clearly mentions this, इसलिए this is also important. Next, coming in medieval, one area that students often ignore and is important is the history of South India, and here in medieval period, the history of the Vijaynagara, the history of whom? The Vijanagar Empire is extremely important. So Vijaynagara or Vijanagar Empire's history is extremely important. So we'll talk about this history of the Vijanagar Empire. And ये Vijayanagar Empire बहुत important है, whether it's the important temple complex of Hampi or the key rulers of the Vijayanagar Empire such as Krishnadev Raya, and more importantly, what was the contribution of these rulers For example, the relationship between the architecture and the political system, and also an account of how or who were the key rulers in this period and what contributions they made to the Vijayanagar Empire. Super important topic. See, for example, this is the elephant-driven chariot image of the temples in Hampi, the Virupaksha temple, etc. in Hampi. So this is an important one from medieval period also. Next, in medieval period that you should focus on briefly is the Mughal period. And Mughal period में जो आपको period important है, it is the period of Akbar. So the period of Akbar is considered very important in the Mughal period, जो आपके exam में पूछा जा सकता है. Here, what देखिए, while people keep reading about who was the ruler and which war he fought, etc., syllabus clearly mentions it wants you to study about the administrative and agriculture and economic structure of 16th and 17th century. So agrarian and economic structure, economic policies. So what were the economic policies of the Mughal? What was the revenue administration system of the Mughals? ये सारी चीजें आपको पढ़नी है. These all things you need to focus upon. And also primarily the period of Akbar. So Akbar के period में, for example, there is the second battle of Panipat, which was fought during Akbar's period, and Akbar's relationship with the Rajputs briefly आप पढ़ सकते हैं. But more importantly, the revenue policies under Akbar, the military organization policies under Akbar, the religious policies under Akbar. तो policies पे focus रखना है, whether it is economic or military or socio-religious policies. So this is something that you should focus upon. तो ये सारी चीजों पे आपको फोकस रखना है, एंड ये एक सेट ऑफ चीजें हैं विच आर एक्सट्रीमली इंपॉर्टेंट फ्रॉम योर एग्जाम पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. तो ये रखिए ध्यान में. नेक्स्ट कमिंग टू, एज आई टोल्ड यू, द मुगल का मैंने आई टोल्ड यू अकबर वाला ही पीरियड इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पीरियड, एंड डिस्कशन ऑफ द मुगल कोर्ट्स एंड पॉलिटिक्स, इसमें भी इट इज प्राइमरीली अबाउट व्हाट it is primarily about Akbar's and Mughal policies during Akbar's period, primarily that. Okay, and also Akbar के अलावा if there is one more period whose policies you should know about, it is Aurangzeb's policy. So Aurangzeb's की policies also is something that you should know about. If you look at this map, it was in this area which I am shading in blue was the extent of empire under Akbar and his later rulers. But जो next major Mughal ruler was there, it was Aurangzeb, who expanded the territories into the areas which I am shading in red in the Deccan region. So Aurangzeb and Akbar's policies and their comparison, ये एक और चीज है जो आपको पता होना चाहिए. Next, so this is where medieval India comes to an end. Next that you should read about is modern India. And modern India में पहला important aspect that students see, many students believe कि modern India उनको पढ़ना है revolt of 1857 onward. नहीं, don't do this mistake. When you're talking about modern India, आपको the first thing that you should read about is British policy. And in British policy is also primarily British revenue or economic policy. Revenue or economic policies. Revenue or what? Economic policies. So British revenue or British economic policies is something that British revenue or British economic policies is something that we should talk about. So British revenue and British economic policies जो हैं, जैसे for example the permanent settlement system, या फिर the Mahalwari, the Rayatwari system of revenue settlement, the Mahalwari system. So these things are definitely important and they are asked in the exam. तो ये एक और section है जिस पे आपको focus करके you have to read and prepare. So please go through this section also from your examination point of view. Revenue policies of the British is something which is very important और ये syllabus में is being clearly mentioned. So British revenue policies and their impact on rural society ये syllabus में लिखा है. and that is the land revenue policies that they want you to focus on. Next is 1857, goes without saying is an important topic. तो 1857 के बारे में डिटेल्स अबाउट द इवेंट्स ऑफ 1857. प्राइमरीली क्वेश्चन आएगा कॉजेस आपको पता होना चाहिए रिवोल्ट ऑफ 1857 के, की लीडर्स कौन थे रिवोल्ट ऑफ 1857 के, दिस इज व्हाट यू शुड नो. एंड अपार्ट फ्रॉम की लीडर्स एंड कॉजेस यू शुड नो सम बेसिक्स अबाउट कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस ऑफ रिवोल्ट. तो ये कुछ चीजें हैं, सम बेसिक्स अबाउट कॉजेस, सम बेसिक्स अबाउट की लीडर्स एंड कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस जो आपको पता होना चाहिए. ओके, सो दैट इज देयर. एंड दिस इतना आपको पढ़ना है, जैसे अवध में हु आर द इम्पोर्टेंट लीडर्स, हु आर द इम्पोर्टेंट लीडर्स इन बिहार, एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा. तो ये आपको पता होना चाहिए, कॉजेस पता होना चाहिए एंड कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस. तो दिस इज समथिंग दैट इज अबाउट द रिवोल्ट. Next thing is about colonialism and Indian towns. Now, briefly, आपके NCERT, for example, in the chapter there is mentioned about the rise of cities like Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, etc. तो brief उसके बारे में, but plans and rise of cities in British India, इसके बारे में आपको briefly पता होना चाहिए. The British, which was the earliest city the British established in India? You should know basics about Calcutta, Mumbai, Chennai, etc. Colonial towns built during British period. एक ये पढ़ना है आपको. नेक्स्ट जो इम्पोर्टेंट है सिलेबस में, महात्मा गांधी ईयर्स एंड द फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल. तो आपको 1914 से 1947 वाला जो पीरियड है इसको थोड़ा डिटेल में पढ़ना है. दो ये लोग बोल रहे हैं इन द सिलेबस दे हैव रिटन 1918 to 48, बट आई एम सेइंग 1914 to 1947 वाला ओवरऑल पीरियड आपको यू शुड रीड अबाउट इन सर्टेन डिटेल. इसमें भी रॉलेट एक्ट ऑफ 1919, जलियांवाला बाग इंसिडेंट एंड नॉन कोऑपरेशन मूवमेंट ऑफ 1921, ये आपको इंपॉर्टेंटली पढ़ना चाहिए. नेक्स्ट आपको 1930-31 दांडी मार्च एंड सॉल्ट सत्याग्रह, ये आपको पढ़ना चाहिए. एंड अपार्ट फ्रॉम these two, the next thing that you should study about apart from Jallianwala Bagh, Dandi March, etc. जो next चीज आपको और पढ़ना चाहिए वो है, जो next चीज आपको apart from these two, the next चीज, the third thing that you should read about is the 1940 to 42 Quit India movement. 1942 Quit India movement, ये आपको पढ़ना चाहिए. क्विट इंडिया मूवमेंट भी एक चीज है जो आपको डेफिनेटली पढ़ना चाहिए. तो 42 क्विट इंडिया मूवमेंट, इसके अराउंड दांडी मार्च एंड सिविल डिसोबीडियंस मूवमेंट अराउंड दिस एंड नॉन कोऑपरेशन मूवमेंट अराउंड इट. तो ये तीन चीजें आप डेफिनेटली फोकस पे पढ़िए. इंपॉर्टेंट बुक्स विच आर रिटन हेयर, इम्पोर्टेंट प्रोटेस्ट और देयर कॉजेस, ये आपको पता होना चाहिए. ओके, तो ये आपके सिलेबस में इस बारे में भी देयर इज अ क्लियर मेंशन. सेकेंडली, लास्टली जो आपको एक इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज है, पार्टीशन पीरियड के बारे में आपको एक ब्रीफ आइडिया चाहिए. दैट इज अबाउट, तो आपको बेसिक डेफिनेशन ऑफ नेशनलिज्म, कम्युनलिज्म पता होना चाहिए एंड सम ब्रीफ अबाउट पार्टीशन आपको you need to focus on, and not too much detail but very basic about partition. More importantly, making of constitution, ये आपको जरूर पता होना चाहिए. The making of Indian constitution, इस पे आपको for example you should know about the Indian Constituent Assembly, its composition, okay, ये and Constituent Assembly debates, and more importantly integration of princely states, ये आपको पता होना चाहिए. इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ प्रिंसली स्टेट्स ऑल्सो यू शुड नो अबाउट. देखिए, पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस हिस्ट्री एंड वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री, ये आपका पॉलिटिकल साइंस के सिलेबस में है. पॉलिटिकल साइंस ऑप्शनल, पॉलिटिकल साइंस एज अ डोमेन सब्जेक्ट व्हेन यू चूज, देन पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस हिस्ट्री एंड वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री इज द सिलेबस, एंड मॉडर्न इंडियन हिस्ट्री तक का सिलेबस इज फॉर द डोमेन सब्जेक्ट ऑफ हिस्ट्री. तो अगर आप हिस्ट्री एंड पॉलिटिकल साइंस दोनों के लिए अप्लाई करना चाहते हैं BA ऑनर्स, देन यू कैन चूज वन डोमेन सब्जेक्ट इज हिस्ट्री, अदर इज पॉलिटिकल साइंस. it will be very easy for you to do so. तो ये दो चीजें हैं जो आप you can keep it in mind as you go ahead and attempt the exam. एक चीज याद रखिए, please keep in mind there is enough time to prepare. The syllabus is not going to be too big. Paper will be simple. Okay, बहुत ज्यादा टफ, बहुत ज्यादा इन डेप्थ नहीं पूछा जाएगा. एंड 12th बोर्ड का सिलेबस इज ऑल दैट यू नीड टू फोकस अपॉन. तो इतना आप फोकस करिए एंड देन we'll see you in a next session where we can take more MCQs etc. also. So I hope this much is clear, and we'll stop here, and I hope this video has given you an idea about what all things to cover while you're preparing for the domain subject of CUET, for the domain subject of history for the CUET exam. Thank you.